in a hold up. Is a Lagosian. So we're starting today with if statement, and the concept behind if statement is just like we talked about for loop. The concept behind for loop is iterating over a particular thing for a period or iterating over a list. But conditional statement is based on some conditions. We want some particular thing to be done. Based on some condition, we want something else to be done, and based on some conditions, we want to subject. We don't want our program, the way programs just work, it line after line, line after line, but we want to put in some uniqueness by bringing in some conditions. So based on some conditions, you should do this. Now, a very simple application is, maybe we have a data set, and there's a particular row that we have, there's a particular column that we ask people to enter their sex, and some entered male, some entered M, some entered F, some entered female, and maybe we just want to, based on some conditions, we want to restructure the data set. In that case, we have to use conditional statement, and there's a syntax which one makes use of conditional statement, and this is the syntax. The word if. Now take for example, I have two numbers. Let's say s equals 5, and I also have y equals 9. Now let me also introduce us to something very basic which we may not be familiar with. What I've declared over there, I can as well declare a variable like this: a comma b equals 10 comma 20. And what this does is just the same thing as saying a equals 10, b equals 20. But programmers, Pythonista, people that write Python, they sometimes prefer to write variable instead of using two lines to declare a variable. Why don't I just use one line and it will still do the same thing? So it's just like the same way I did s equals 5, y equals 9. I can as well do s comma y equals 5 comma 9. So what it does is, in this case now, it maps a to 10 and it maps b to 20. Now I can bring in a conditional statement that maybe I want to execute some things based on the variable I have. Then I can bring in my conditional statement, and this is the syntax. The if statement, then what follows will be the condition. The condition I want to subject the set of code to. Maybe I want to print you are welcome if A is greater than B, or if B is greater than A. So my condition here is B greater than A. I already know that B carries 20, A carries 10. So after the condition, so this is the condition now, B greater than A. So if that condition is met, so when we have the if syntax in that sense, we must finish it with a colon. So now, if that condition is met, so if we take note, as soon as I click on enter, it indented it for me. So when you use statement like we did in the last class, for loop, when you're dealing with for loop, the set of code you want to iterate over will be indented. When you are using conditional statement also, the set of code you want to be executed based on the conditions, those that actually meet those conditions, they will be indented also. So in this case now, I want to print welcome. I want to print welcome if B is greater than A, which is true in this case. So if I run this now, as you can see, it's printed welcome, because 20 is actually greater than A. So now, let me play with other conditions. What if let me change the value of let me make A comma B, let me make them to have the same value, so 10 comma 10. So now I've overwritten that now. Now what if in the condition is not just greater than, maybe I just want it to maybe be inclusive. Now, if I make this, if I do this now, if I run this, no output because B is never greater than A. B is not greater than A. So, but B is actually equals to A. So, I can actually, now if I include, if I want it to maybe K, even if it's not greater than A, or even if it is, maybe if it's equal to, so if it's greater than or equal to, so we write it in this way. The greater than sign, then the equals in front of is. So, it brings in that, it brings in that, that equals to also is being brought into it as a condition likewise. So if I run this now, you can see it's printed out the welcome because we have attached to the condition. Okay, even if it's not greater than, if it's equal to, let's just print it that way. So the condition there is if B is greater than or equals to A. So we can also have this for conditions like less than or equals to, or less than or even equals to itself. So if we want to do equals to now, all I have to do now, equals to now, Broshido asked a question and I think it was last class about the double equal sign. So when you are comparing two things together, so in this case now I'm asking if B is equals to A. If B is equals to A, not if it's greater than, not if it's less than, if it's just equals to A. So if I run this now, the condition is true and it's going to print welcome for because B is actually equals to A. Now, it's not only integer, it's not only integer value we can actually compare when we are dealing with conditional statement. It may be a string. Let's say my name, let me say name equals this, that's my name. Then let me say class, then class, okay, class is a keyword, let me use this class. Okay, let me now say class equals my name also. Now I can actually subject this to conditional statements. If I say, I can say if name equals class. So it's not only um, values, it's not only arithmetic values that we can subject to a condition. So in this case now, if name equals class, they are carrying the same value now. So we've talked about data type. So we know that a name is a string, class is a string, but if the content, the value they are carrying, are they actually the same? If they are the same, then let's report and say name and class cannot be the same value. So if I run this now, so as you can see, it printed it out. So we not only make use of conditional statements when we are dealing with values, Take for example, another example is now it's not only logical operators. Now you call this, you see this double equals to sign that helps us to check if something is equals to. See this greater sign. You see this now, they are logical operators. Now there are other operators just like maybe dealing with boolean. Now let me take for example, if I say if department. Now I've actually not created any variable called dpt. Now when I say if dpt, now I'm not actually putting equals to or greater than. Now in this sense, now I'm checking the existence, the validation of the fact that if dpt, now in this sense, now I'm not comparing it, I'm saying if dpt is actually exists or if it actually carries a value that is true. So if dpt, then print department exists in this code. So if I run this now, so as you can see, say dpt is not defined. Now let me create a variable. Let me say dpt equals false. Okay, now if I run this again, if I run this again, Okay, so now DPT has been assigned a value false. Now I'm just checking here if DPT, now I'm not actually saying is greater than or whatsoever in this case. Now I'm just checking if DPT is actually true. If DPT is actually true. So let me override, let me say DPT, let me make it carry the value true. So okay, then our condition. So let me run this again. So as you can see, now let me explain something that is very basic and simple. Now you know when we are doing if b equals to a, if b greater than a, now what this actually returns to the compiler is it either returns true or false. So it subjects it to this condition. If the condition is met, it returns true and or false to the compiler. So if it is true, it goes ahead and do what we have here. If it is false, it does not do it. So we might have a scenario that it's not just logical operator like greater than or less than that we have here. Now I can actually do something like, now assume I have a list of names. So I call it names, and it's a list actually. And we have Shola, Femi, Kola, um, Wisdom, Kolapo. Now, maybe I want to check if a name, okay, let me say my name is Abayomi. And if I say my name is Abayomi, okay, Abayomi is a string, and I want to check if my name is actually in that names. Now, I can just do that with if statements. I'll just do if my name in, that's another way of another condition. Now if my name in names, now if you can remember what I said, that when you have your condition like this, it either returns true or false. So whatsoever you can put that can return true or false can actually stand in front of if. In this case now, what I'm doing is I'm asking my name in, like, is my name in that list? So it's either going to return true or false. So if it is true, go ahead and do what I have here. It is okay, print Abayomi is in the list, me. So when I run this, now as you can see, my name is not in the list, so it didn't print that. Now assuming my name is in the list, so um, let me rewrite this, or let me just rewrite, make my name to be Shola instead. Then let me run my condition. Okay, so as you can see, oh, now what I wrote there wasn't too cool. Let me just make it your name is in the list. So as you can see, it returned it, and it's not the greater than or the less than, but in this sense now. So the best way to arrest conditional statement and know when to use and know how to use it, like know the situation now, it's not just the greater than the less than, anything that can return a true or false. Now, and you can confirm that, like normally if I say a equals 10 and I say b equals 20, now I don't need to do, if I just say b greater than a, now it returns boolean to me. 20 is actually greater than 10, or like what I did there, my name in names. Now it returns true because my name, which is Shola now, is actually found in the name. So you can realize that any expression that returns a Boolean value can actually stand in front of if, can actually be a condition that we can subject things to. So I want to welcome question at this point. I know for some of us that maybe think we are quite familiar with if statement, I must have opened a fresh chapter with this in. So I want to welcome question before I move to the next thing for tonight. So is there any question with this that was done? Any question?
Hold up for my hand, sir.
Okay, sir. Procedure, any question, sir?
I'm just looking at this last one you did. Just looking at this last one you did. B greater than A,
Yes, which is true.
and it returns true. Is it? You didn't write any. You didn't print anything. You didn't say print this. You
Eh,
understand my question?
yes, exactly, because codes like this, they are
Conditional statement.
their expression itself that like the compiler actually understands straight up, and
Okay.
they give a sharp response. So like statements like this now, I can actually put them in front of any if statement because they return a boolean value.
Okay. What do you mean by Boolean value is called is it logical? This logic.
Yes, yes. A boolean value can either be true or false.
Was
Yes.
okay.
So any other question? Mr. K has gone. Okay. So let's move on. So I actually took time to explain the if statement. So now we move on to the else statement. And the way the else statement works it, what if the condition I put in my if is not met? I'm trying to admit someone to the class. Mr. Steven, you're welcome. You came late, oh. We've done quite.
Yes, I'm very sorry, sir. I had a very hectic traffic when I was coming back from work.
Oh, wow. Lagos as well. Okay, like now,
Amen, sir.
now we can count the number of times we do have traffic. It's only on that we know that there's always traffic. I think the full target. Okay, so actually looking at conditional statements, um, I don't know. I
Okay,
would
sir.
like to ask: are you familiar with conditional statements?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means you can flow with us. So you can see all that we
Yes,
have
sir.
on the screen. Hope they are not strange to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have to flow along. So this section will soon end. So
Yeah.
let's try and rejoin the class using the same link. So we are moving to the else statement. The else statement. Mr. K, is there any question from you before we move to the else statement? Mr. K, any question from you? Okay, so we move on. So going to the else statement. The concept of the else statement is what if the conditions I've subjected my if statement to is not met? How do I address other excesses? How do I arrest other situations that don't meet my condition? You know, the if statement allow me to subject whatever I want to do to a single condition, yeah, to a condition now. What if I have a scenario that it cannot that does not find itself in that category. So I use else to address every other excesses. So let me take for instance the code we just finished now. We have a list of names and we have it in a variable called names, and I have my name to be Shola. no, Shola, no, Kolapo. No, Kolapo is it. I have my name to be Tunde. Now, I'm writing an instruction that if my name is inside the names, if my name in that list, which is names, now print you met up with the standards. And now, if I want to address every other situation, like in this case now, Tunde is not in the list. We definitely know that it won't print it for Tunde. So now we can arrest that with the else statement. We can arrest that with the else statement. Sorry. So I'll need to if I want to write a long script like that, let me open a new window. Okay, so I'll be resharing the screen with us. Okay, so let me copy this. Okay, have it there. Okay. So I have my condition, that's my first condition. If my name is there, print that. Then now I want to arrest every other situation. So I can use the else statement. So just like the way we finished, we ensure we finish every if condition with the column. Now else does not have any condition. Else just arrest every other SS's. It does not like is Mr. Kugbo. So far you don't meet the conditions that have been stated above, I will arrest you. So I will have the condition like this print. Okay, just print, sorry, try again. So maybe this is just a list of students that actually, maybe list of stuff that can be found in a data set or whatsoever. So the else arrest such SS's. So let's run this now and see how our program looks. Let me save this file. Conditional statements. Okay, run this. So we can see our output. It says sorry, try again, because Tunde could not be found in the list, but the else arrested it. The else statement arrested it. So I believe we know what the else statement does. So you can't use so the else statement is being used along with the if statement. So there's another thing also that is also being used now, is the elif statement. What if I have more than a condition? Maybe I want to subject, maybe if they have maybe 2 categories, 3 categories, 4 categories, then that I want to subject my situations to. And if you now don't meet those conditions, then I use the else to arrest you. So how do we bring in some other conditions like that? And that's the concept of the elif statement, and this is how it goes. Now the elif statement comes after the if statement. So you can't have an elif statement without an if statement. So the elif statement can be maybe the one extra other condition, the second order condition, the third order condition. So let's include that in this case now. Let's say elif. Now maybe if the name starts with T, then let's do something. So I can have another condition and say elif my name. So I'll say elif my name dot start with, then start with C. So in case my name starts with T, so I finish it also with the full column. So when I click enter, so you can see that it actually indented it for me automatically. So that is another condition I have here. Maybe I'm actually a favorite of any name that starts with T, and maybe any name that starts with F also. So I may have another condition and say Elif, my name, or maybe the other case I want to be, okay, Elif, maybe your name is now maybe in this case now, name equals now. Maybe name is Femi. No, name is Kemi. So if name is Kemi, okay, maybe I'll just print, oh, I love your name, but you didn't make it. Okay, that sounds more user friendly. I love your name, but just can't take you in. So I have another, that's another condition there. So let me give an action to this. Print I love this. Sorry. So now I've brought in, I now have three conditions: the if one, the one that the if addresses, this first elif, there is another second elif. So we can see that this is a condition. Just like I said the other time, like this will definitely return either true or false, and we can confirm that. Let me run to my shell now, and let me I think we are familiar with that. I don't need to share that again now. So this will either return true or false. So my name in this case is Tunde. So Tunde equals to, so it's going to start with the if one. Let me explain. It goes out with if one. So Tunde is my name. It's going to check, okay, Tunde cannot be found in names. So it won't execute this. It will jump to the next condition. Okay. This Tunde starts with T, yes, then it will go ahead and do what we have here. Now, that means it won't come here to check again, and that marks it. So I've met a condition, I will execute it, and I will jump out of the loop. So maybe outside my if statement now, I can print something like this. Thank you for using my software. Thank you for using my software. So what will happen is, in this case now, Tunde is my name. Tunde didn't meet the first condition, but Tunde met the second condition. So it will print I love this, but sorry. Then when it's done with that, that's found its own condition. It will not even come and be checking for elif or s or whatever. At least I've met a condition, and it will execute what has been put inside. Then it will jump to this line here.